Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are a couple of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. You guys, this one is called Mentorship Mastery, a holistic guide for virtuous leaders. And before I introduce our authors to you today, a huge thank you goes out to Julie Campbell. She is our lead author of Mentorship Mastery. Julie, I'm so grateful to be here guiding this project with you. You had a big vision and mission for this book, and you knew in the beginning that your co-authors, your experts, would step up in other ways and other level ways, and they did. I cannot wait to introduce this book to the world. It is phenomenal. So I've got some pretty cool people in my Zoom room today. Bruce Engelhardt is a mentor and coach whose goal is to enable a new generation of leaders to get results through extraordinary caring. Welcome, Bruce. We also have Paul Becker. He's a former Naval Intelligence Rear Admiral, author, leadership professor, and inspirational speaker. Welcome, Paul. We're going to start this party off with you, Paul. Tell us a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Thank you for having me. Along the course of my career, I worked for plenty of leaders. But at about the 18-year point of my career, I realized I didn't have a mentor. And more, I was looking around the waterfront, uh, and I saw other senior leaders had senior mentors. And I said, I'd like to be part of that, and I'm not sure if it would be in the junior senior, or the protege, mentor relationship. But the proximate cause was thrust upon me in about October of 2001 when at sea off of the California coast, in preparation for a wartime deployment following 9/11, I had a bunch of evaluators fail me on a pre-deployment exam, and they said there were significant problems noted, and I was not ready with my intelligence team for a deployment. So that was shattering to me. And when others lost confidence in me and put distance between us, one boss uh, drew closer to me, mentored me, and provided me the support and the empathy and the mentorship when I needed it most. And even though I failed this examination, he did not make me feel like a failure. And if someone could do that one on one, I had it in me to do that with someone else one on one. And I wanted to share that opportunity for improvement and growth and excellence within my sphere of influence within the Navy. And since then, it's been beyond the Navy, from the seafront to corporate boardrooms as well.
Love that you started this interview off today with a story that reframes failure, because I think this is a thing for a lot of people that could have turned you in a really wrong direction. And to have this person step up and change the game for you is pretty profound. When you mentor somebody who's had a failure, what are you finding yourself using your mentor's words? Have you found your own message? How do you reframe it for people?
Yeah, in today's Facebook friending, right? LinkedIn looking, Twitter tuned, fast paced world, it's easy to go for a sound bite, right? But I go a little deeper, right? People have written about leadership and mentorship for millennia, right? You can go back to Marcus Aurelius, right? And the Stoics and see what they had to say about leadership and taking control of what one can control and letting go of what others can't control and putting it together into a comprehensive plan for a way ahead. And part of my plan, and there's some kitschy alliteration here, I have to admit, right? It wasn't just one thing, right? But I thought about all the great leaders I saw and worked with, and I thought about, frankly, some of the horrible leaders I saw and worked with, and we've all had these experiences. And what did the winners have in common? What did the ones that elevated in their individual or their team performance to an exceptional level? And I thought about it, and it was an inclusiveness, a teamwork, right? It was a positive attitude when the chips were down. And I don't mean a Pollyannish Ned Flanders type, everything's going to be great, but a pragmatic look at the opportunities for a way ahead and the absolute perseverance with a purpose, and that's tenacity. But if you put those three things together, they're tough to remember. And in the military, there's often something called commander's intent, where there's something that's short and memorable and actionable at any level of a ship, a squadron, a submarine, where when the poo hits the fan, people remember what to do. And when it comes to leadership and mentorship, I wanted them to remember, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to act like teammates. We're going to maintain a positive attitude, tone, and we will persevere with purpose, and that's tenacity. So that's T3. And when I left the Navy, I founded a consultancy group called the Becker T3 Group because of that.
All right, Paul, we're going to actually dive into that in a couple of minutes. But for right now, I just want to say thank you for saying yes to this project. Thanks for being here today to share your wisdom and for writing a chapter that is going to change lives. Thanks for being here, Paul.
My pleasure.
Bruce, I'm coming over to you now. Tell us a little bit of your why behind the chapter you wrote.
Well, thank you, Laura. My why goes back to a tension that I've felt all through my years of leadership, a tension between getting results and being a people person and how to do both at the same time. And so what I came up with was for me, and it applies to mentoring also, are two quotes. One's attributed to Theodore Roosevelt: nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And and then I found on the other side of the coin, effective leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. Leadership is defined by results, not attributes. And so I think for me, my why was how do you do both? I see it as two sides of the same coin. And if one side is blank, it's counterfeit, it won't spend. If the other side is blank, same thing. So that's what motivated me, and it applies to mentoring too. Um, to mentor someone, they have to know you care before they're gonna uh, respond. But in the end, if all you do is care and they don't see results, they don't feel very mentored. And and it's a waste of time. So that's what was my passion, is how do I capture both of these how do we capture both of these concepts, and how do we apply them to our everyday mentoring?
Bruce, what's one way you care? What's one of the ways you show it, like, and your mentee knows it? Like, give us an example.
Well, I think the big thing here is authenticity and humility. And so for me, uh, I try to be authentic and I try to be real and be vulnerable. Um, in other words, yeah, I've made that mistake before. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I've made. Um, so I think that's number one. Another way is time, giving someone your unadulterated, unvarnished time without distraction is a huge way of showing them you care.
And I don't know about you guys, but today, this day and age, I think about that all the time. I think about time all the time and what a gift it is to give somebody even a few minutes where you are not looking at anything else. You're not paying attention to anything else. We've turned into this weird multitasking culture with the screens and the things. And isn't it a gift to know somebody is fully present with you, listening, right? Active, we call it active listening over here in Brave Healer Land. What else did you want to say about that?
Well, I'm glad you brought up listening. Um, Truly powerful active listening is really hard to do. So, there's a book about this, but they talk about your advice monster. And we all mentors have an advice monster. And if you can keep the advice monster, if I can keep the advice monster in check and not be thinking about what I'm going to say next, just listen. What I find is, first of all, what I thought I was going to say might not have been the right thing because I wasn't listening close enough. Second of all, until they've emptied their glass, they don't want to fill it. And they don't want you to fill it. And so, yeah, this listening is huge and it's part of being an elevated mentor.
I love that. I love advice monster. I'm a little guilty. I love, you want to help so much and you want people not to have to make the same mistakes you made. And so advice tends to pour out a lot of the time, but it's really that gift of listening. I want I want to ask both of you this next question. Bruce, I'm going to stick with you right now for this first. But out of all of the amazing things that it is to be a mentor, what do you think is your favorite part about being a mentor?
I think my favorite part is when uh, the mentee comes back to me and asks for my input, because that means that we've gotten the trust. It means that I've listened enough. It means that they want to know what I think. I think that really feels good to say, well, Bruce, I need your input. I need your advice. What do you think?
I love that. That's a simple statement, but it's powerful. I had a healing professional once upon a time that was really an amazing person. And one day I asked a similar question of her. I finally took that, I don't know what the word for it is, but basically I'm like, hey, here's what I want to know. Please tell me, what you think. Give me your opinion, your advice. And she's like, you finally figured out how to use this situation here. Right. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Um, okay. So Paul, for you, what do you think is one of the favorite things for you about being a mentor?
Yeah, Bruce mentioned this earlier. Leadership's about results. So,
Mm,
as a mentor with a protege, down the road, I like to see the results. And there are various metrics one can measure results. And through the Severn Leadership Group, you often see the results because we're a tight-knit group and we provide feedback and we become a network, right, of professional colleagues and friends for life, I sense. And I see they're doing well professionally. And I think back to the origin of the word mentor and who he was and what it is itself, right? When Ulysses went off on his Odyssey, right, he left mentor in charge of rearing his son, Telemachus. And off he went, and he came back years later. Now, Ulysses was ready to return to the role of king, but had he not, Mentor had done the right job of achieving success and raising a future king. And that's results, right? In the days, of the ancient Greeks.
I mean, it's all about the results in the end. Yes, I like that you're both talking about that too. Okay, I want to give you both a chance to really dive into the tool in your chapter a little bit more. I want to give you both another shout out. Listen, it's quite a thing to do your mentorship every day and you're helping people every day, but it's quite another thing to put it in black and white in a book in a way a reader can have an exceptional experience with it. And you did it brilliantly. This book is a gift of really profound and practical tools that the reader can experience. So thank you both for doing it in such a brilliant way. And while I continue the gratitude, I'll give everybody a little peek at this beautiful book here. We have a wonderful foreword by Sig Berg. You guys are going to learn a lot about the Sovereign Leadership Group, and Mentorship Mastery. I like to match my book covers, so I did the white and blue today. So, Paul, what's the most important thing you want people to know about the T3, the teamwork, tone, and tenacity?
That it's never an equilaterally shaped triangle, that if you just do these three things in the right proportion, you'll get the leadership and mentorship answer you need, right? Every circumstance, every individual is unique. I've walked into organizations, I've dealt one-on-one as a volunteer mentor with the Sovereign Leadership Group, where this person's a strong team player, right? But their attitude stinks. So that's the short, leg of the triangle. So we need to do some work there, right? And we can, right? So it can be a quite scalene triangle depending, on where the strengths and the weaknesses are, right? So it's not just the mentor observing that. It's to bring a level of self-awareness, right, to the protege, that they are aware of that. And frankly, some are and some aren't, right? I did not know I had such chinks in my armor until I was a commander in the Navy, which is really at about the 15 to 18 year mark. I was on a master's program, and uh, it was the first time I ever received 360-degree feedback. And I had pieces of paper, fitness reports, as we call them in the Navy, which said what a great job I was doing. But they were always written by someone above you, right? And that's a one-dimensional view. When I got 360-degree feedback from both family, subordinates, friends, oh, I had a lot of work to do, and it was shocking to me, and I needed to make some shocking course corrections. And I did. And that coincided about that time that I failed the operational exam that I opened our dialogue with. So it all came together that, all right, I need to start paying attention and journaling and looking for better models and practicing different uh, leadership tools in different ways. And that's when I decided to become a mentor in addition to a leader, because I had seen role models around me, and I wasn't picking up on the clues, but now I began to.
Oh man, I hope you guys are hearing these golden nuggets today. The awareness is everything. And so, you know, as Paul talks about the 360-degree feedback, have you guys ever thought about that? About feedback coming from not just the person that's above you or in charge of you? Yeah, this is excellent. Okay, Bruce, I want to know the most important thing you want people to know about that elevated mentoring.
Well, I think there are two important things, so I'm going to have a hard time saying just one. But one important thing is you've got to care, and care doesn't always, I think people sometimes think it's about asking about your family and your hobbies. I talk about a story in my book where one of my CEOs showed he cared by giving me very painful advice. And his painful observation was I did what he asked for to the letter of the law, but I didn't do my very best. And so what he was saying and I didn't get it at the time, was something about my character. He cared about my character. And it took me years to figure that out. And so even this is long before we knew about emotional intelligence. So his feedback to me was not, didn't have any bedside manner, but he showed he cared by caring about my deep inner character. Did you do your best? No, I didn't really do my best. And I didn't like saying that. And I said, I never want to answer that question no again. So I think the bottom line there is deep caring takes many forms, but normally it's when you care about somebody's character. And then the second thing, from my chapter, there is a methodology for getting results after you've established the care and the trust. And a lot of times we talk past each other. So let's define what we're talking about, define terms. What do you mean by micromanagement? What do you mean by proper use of time? What do you mean by engaged workforce? And then it's time to say, okay, what's true about this? And what are some basic truths? So in the area of time management, I always use the Eisenhower quadrants, which are important, uh, important and urgent. And so, obviously we do the important and urgent things, but doing the important but not urgent things is the real key. So that's a truth. And then finally, asking powerful questions to bring out those truths and those definitions. So long answer to what I want people to get out of my chapter.
It was a great long answer. I was writing notes. There's so many things here. I'm just going to rewind to, when you care enough to actually give the hard feedback, because for the person giving it, it takes some energy and effort and courage actually to give that kind of feedback. You've got to care about the person enough to go through all that and deliver it. And I hope that, that is taken by that mentee in the right way, right? That can be an interesting situation, but communication like that is badass. And then I also loved what you said about, what do you mean by this term? Sometimes we have no idea what people mean. This term's used so often in so many different ways, but to actually speak clearly and communicate clearly about it is, it's everything, right? So yeah, so all right. I hope everyone is getting a taste of what this book is today. Bruce Engelhardt, Paul Becker, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. I know you guys know this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community and of experienced mentors who've been through it a time or two and have a thing or two to say about this. You guys, you can come on down into the show notes and I have them linked up here. Maybe you've got a question about what we started talking about today, right? You can reach out and you can explore the links and the websites below. Please do that. And we really hope that you hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of Mentorship Mastery. I've got the link below for that as well. Lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.